Hi, everybody.
Aaron.
Zoom is still eluding me. I need to spend like a whole day figuring out how to make Zoom more than just one person. So sorry, everybody. Let me go to the Athens doc.
You can actually set it up as a recurring meeting, which allows people to join before the presenter has joined, and then anybody can just walk on. I don't think they can.
Aaron, let's screen share because I have done that and everything else I can think of, and like nothing works. So
I'm good.
maybe you know how to fix this. I've put in like alternate hosts. I've done recurring. I've done allow join before host. I've done everything. So yeah, I gotta figure this out. Do we have Marwan coming?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there you are, Marwan.
And I realized I was eating and I'm not muted. So sorry if
It's all good.
you're hearing me chew loudly.
All good. Let's see. Anyone else coming? Mon is here. I think we can just start. There might be some more folks coming, but I know it's a busy week for peeps. So let me start with some first PR announcements. I know a lot of these people aren't here, but I love doing this. So we've got Daphne from GopherCon Community Day, and she did a first PR for some docs. Kenya, were you there at the Community Day? I think you submitted a first PR also.
No, I didn't submit a PR. I've been trying to help with the Docker documentation because at GopherCon, we were trying to get some people set up just with Docker. And so I believe I was just commenting on an issue about updating the documentation.
Okay, cool. Well, hit us up if and when you submit a PR, or if you want help, hit us up. We'll get one merged and your name will be on the list for next meeting.
Yeah, I just think I just had a couple concerns. Like, it seems like there's a lot of maybe 2 tickets that are about the same thing, but I'm not exactly sure. Marwan put a ticket in for implementing Docker, and I'm not sure if it's like the same concept that you put in the issue for it.
Okay. Do you remember the issue names or issue numbers?
So the issue number that you made was 601, and the one that Marwan made was 420.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, okay.
I don't know if this would be separate documentation, like documentation for using Docker just for initial setup, where Marwan was more of like more advanced. I don't know, more than initial setup.
So actually, the one that I had, I'm not familiar with the one. Well, I don't remember the one that Aaron did, but I'm gonna guess that it's about deployment. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the one I have is about exactly what you were looking for during GopherCon, which is have one command that sets up everything. So you just be like, as long as you have Docker, you could literally just run Docker run, and it's a development environment. So it's not just like, it's something you could still tinker with and it would restart. It's a little bit more complex, but like there's steps to it. You know, you could just run a Docker container that's kind of similar to the deployment one. That would work, but I'm also hoping to have something like Docker compose up dev, and then you have a fully set up development environment.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have something similar. Like we have a bunch of stuff set up, but it's not like v1 command with like correct volumes and backends and everything. So it's like here and there.
I was a little confused then, I think. What I was seeing at the Gopher Source workshop was there was a lot of steps that folks had to do to get like Buffalo installed and the Go path set up and everything. So
Yeah.
I thought it would be cool to be able to do a Docker run something just to get the proxy running and be able to test against it. But like Marwan, what you showed, what you wrote about in issue 420, and also what Mono just wrote, in the Zoom chat, doing like a Docker compose up whatever, up proxy or up dev.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be probably nicer because then you could run the proxy immediately, but then also like jump right into writing code right after you test out the proxy for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just something to test out, it's something to work on as well. So if anyone's interested, feel free to take it up, and if not, I don't have anything Athens at the moment which I could take on. But if anyone wants to try it out, please feel free.
So would you be wanting to mount in the code in a volume into the Docker container so you could just hack on it locally and then be running it inside the container, so you're developing inside the container or something?
Exactly, that's it. And then making sure all the dependencies are set up in the Docker image. So depending on, let's say, MongoDB, and then also having Buffalo and Go and everything. So you don't necessarily even need the Go toolchain on your computer, but obviously most people will have it. But you don't need Buffalo, for example, on your computer.
Kenya,
that kind of stuff a fair amount.
Because there's kind of like, what do you think about that, Kenya? There's like the Docker compose idea, and then the Docker. Which one do you think is better from like the starter docs perspective?
I think the Docker Compose YAML sounds better, but they would be getting it from the repo, right? It would be would it be in the walkthrough repo, or would it be in the Athens repo?
What's the first repo you said?
The walkthrough repo.
Oh,
where it's like the example.
It would make more sense to do the Athens repo, because then you have the source code that you can edit.
Yeah, that'd be cool, because you could get up and running, and then like step 2 could be like, okay, now go write some code, and you know when you're done with the code, it'll auto reload, and you can try out your new changes in like step 3.
Yeah.
By the way, Rob, you win the award for coolest Zoom avatar because it's moving. I know it's your real face, but it's like are you going for a walk?
Yeah, I'm just outside.
Oh, cool.
Could you have that on? Could you have that on a loop somehow, and then just have that playing when you're actually sitting at a desk or something?
Yeah, just have the light change a little bit like this, like I'm busy.
Yeah. Next time, do it in like Hawaii or something with the sunset in the background.
I'll see what I can do.
Okay. All right. So it looks like 601 and 420 are kind of the same. We could merge them together. Is that cool with folks? Kenya, how do you feel about doing that? Yay, nay, maybe?
Yeah. I haven't actually done anything with Buffalo and this whole mix of things. So writing the Docker Compose file, I would need probably help. So, but if Marwin has time, he can take it.
I would say if you'd like, if you don't like to do it, just let me do it. But if you'd like to, give it a shot, and like just ping me on Slack if you're ever stuck on anything. But I assume.
Okay. How about I'll give it a try, and I'll ping you.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
I'll just write on the comment that you will be working on it. So
big thumbs up right there. Okay. All right. Any other people on the Zoom right now that have a first PR that got merged? There's not a lot of people on the Zoom. Okay. Sorry if you're watching on YouTube and I missed you. Thank you for your contribution, and keep submitting PRs and we'll review them. So the second bullet, Carolyn is not here. She's on vacation / post GopherCon hangover. But she wanted to talk about our release strategy. She wanted to talk about a release strategy before GopherCon, and ironically that item got pushed until after GopherCon, which I just love. But I think it's still like a pretty valid question. So I'm gonna like just combine it with this one that I put in the road to 1.0. What do people feel like we need? This is broad strokes to start with. what do people feel like we need to get to like a beta? Something, whatever version it is that we can call like this is the beta one of Athens. And also maybe a little more fuzzy. But what do people feel like we need to get to a stable release, a v1.0.0?
I could say that for beta, it'd be nice if we have the full deployment setup working and then the full environment setup as well working. So all the Docker Compose and the deployment stuff just with documentation. So I feel like when it comes to the code base, there's probably not much for beta. There is the one issue with authentication because this is a proxy that talks to private repos. We have authentication right now, which is the .NET RC file, but we could potentially have something more secure. I don't know if people feel like that should be part of the beta or part of V1, but I would say it should definitely be part of V1 because, you know, this is a stable release and we should have the proper authentication security blah when you want to access private repos on GitHub. I can link that issue so I'm not just talking random things. If you give me 1 second. Let's see. Yes, so the issue is 530 where we're discussing using an in-memory get auth instead of .NET RC. I'm not too familiar with it. I just know that .NET RC is a file that lives on your system that has your GitHub credentials, which is not very secure. So anyway, I feel like that should be part of V1 unless people strongly feel that should be part of beta.
I know that there is some demand for auth, but a lot of what I heard demand for auth was from GopherCon, and most folks were talking about needing to authenticate with a proxy to get outside of their firewall.
Oh, that is a two-part thing. I've opened an issue on the Go repo about that. That's something that is out of our control, I think. I'll link the Go issue here. I don't think I've heard back yet from anyone on the Go team. Let me just link the issue really quickly, and I'll talk about two parts about that. So the Go issue is 27132, and I posted it on the chat. Basically, if you want to have the client, aka the Go binary, authenticate with a proxy or send some sort of an authentication header or something, there's no way to do that because the Go command does not send any headers to the proxy. So I open an issue and say, can you send some sort of headers like, you know, Go proxy -auth or whatever. But until then, the only thing we have is running behind a VPN. So that's kind of a complex setup for a lot of people probably. And then the other way is basic auth, because you can include basic auth as part of the URL itself.
Yeah.
And so I'm running our Go proxy at the New York Times behind a VPN and basic auth, because those are the only two ways available.
Yeah.
So with basic auth, I just have the username and the password at domain.com or whatever. And so those are the two ways that people are wondering. But what I'm talking about is the authentication, not between the Go binary and the proxy, but between the proxy and GitHub or whatever VCS.
I got some questions about that at GopherCon too.
Yes.
The one that sticks out in my mind was someone was running, it was at a pharma company, and the only way to the internet was NTLM auth from Athens to his proxy, his web proxy. So I don't know if we have a way to support that either.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it's dependent on the Go binary again. just from the proxies go binary up to the internet.
Oh,
About that.
yeah, I have no idea. So yeah, it goes 3 steps. If people are unfamiliar, it goes from the go binary of the user to the proxy server, and then the proxy server uses the go binary to fetch GitHub stuff or whatever VCS. And so what we have working right now is the go binary to the proxy that is basic auth and VPN. And then from the proxy to the go binary to fetch VCS is the .NET RC file. And so there is a variable, an environment variable called netrc path, which you can mount, and then it will put it in the right place for you. And so we have it working, it's just not the most secure.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like there are some auth things that we want. Marwan, it sounds like you're cool with having them in V1, the stable.
Yeah, I think it's okay to have beta and to have people test it out. It is like we do have auth. It's not like we don't have it. But I think V1 makes most sense to say like we have something that is robust in terms of security.
All right. So then what do people think for beta? Is it, I know we probably need docs, better docs. Is there other stuff anyone wants to see? Should I cut beta today?
No, I would say docs and deployment. Those are my 2 issues.
What do you mean by deployment?
Having the specific, like having the right, I know we already have deployment as part of CI/CD, but I keep seeing things failing in master every now and then when we merge. And so just, I'm not familiar with any of that. So as long as someone gives a thumbs up that we have specific deployment, as long as someone gives a thumbs up that says deployment is good, like we have a way to deploy or to build a Docker image from CI/CD, and it's pretty robust and working. And we have documentation for how to deploy the Athens proxy.
Okay, I'm just taking notes. So sorry about the clicking. And then deployment, meaning pushing the Docker image from CI/CD.
Manu said integration test on the chat, and I agree. I think we have integration test as part of CI/CD, but it'd be cool if we have integration test as part of the deployment. Like when we build a Docker image, we could run integration test against that image itself. But we don't have an official cloud to deploy proxies on besides Travis. Yeah, testing Docker builds is basically what. I think to me that sounds like a nice to have for beta.
Okay. Rob left a comment on GitHub. Rob, was that on an issue somewhere, or where is it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the issue. It was an issue about, I can't remember if it was about getting Docker set up for something, or Kubernetes, or maybe the Docker Compose, but one of those issues.
Okay.
And I just left a comment. There was a repo or a library I found where you can test your Docker builds.
Okay. One thing I can do also, sort of on top of the integration test, plus on top of what you said, Rob, now that we have Helm charts, I can just do a Helm install on every release. I'm not sure when we'd want to do it, but I could Helm install a proxy up to Kubernetes in the cloud, and then we can run integration tests against that. Not sure if that's a must-have for beta, but what do people think?
I think it's good. I don't know if it has to be for beta, but that would be pretty awesome.
Okay. Because we have that one that Josh and Martin, some coworkers, they put it onto a proprietary Azure thing. But it'd be cool to actually test out our our Docker image, our Helm charts, and our whole integration story with Kubernetes, all the docs, everything. That might help keep us honest. But I'll put that under 1.0 for now. All right. So beta, I have more docs for how to deploy. Deployment is solid. Oops. Oh boy. I can't type. That's a prereq for beta as well. Aaron learning how to type. So yeah, solid deployment, which means we're good on building and pushing the Docker image from CI/CD. Nice to have would be having integration tests run against a newly built Docker image. And then we said 1.0 CI/CD pushing to Kubernetes. All of our other deployment targets would probably be nice as well. Also, Maron, you mentioned proxy to internet auth. I'm just going to say improve proxy to internet auth and also improve Go CLI to proxy auth. I'll put a link to the Go issue as well. Okay. Okay. What else? Other comments, questions about V1 or beta?
Windows support for V1.
Windows support. Okay. Do we have any issues, Michal, that are related to Windows?
Yeah, I believe Marpio is working on that.
Okay. Okay, cool. What else? Other stuff?
I don't know if it's a nice to have before beta, but if people besides me and Aaron would like to deploy Athens in their own setup to test it out and see what works and what doesn't, that would be great. That would totally help the documentation and beta. I assume with beta, more people are going to start deploying it. I currently have it deployed just for my team, but our delivery engineering team at the New York Times is interested in deploying it for the whole company, but I imagine they'll wait until beta. So if people want to just test it out until then, that would be great.
Yes.
Just like deploy it for your team or whatever, or for your own personal project or something, or for your company if they're willing to try it just as a test thing. That would be great.
Yeah, and if you do that and you want to write about it to the world, let me know. I'll add you as a publisher on the Medium blog, and you just go nuts. And also, to that point, we have Helm charts, which is kind of like the Kubernetes deployment artifact. And we've obviously got Docker images. But if there's another platform that you want to deploy the proxy to, Mesos, Docker Swarm, Terraform, specific cloud stuff. I think basically the more of that kind of stuff we have, the more accessible the proxy is for folks. And that's probably also important for beta. So even if you don't want to do it, if you have an idea, just put it up in an issue, and we should probably do it. At least we'll know about it. Manu, what do you mean by self-healing? You asked if the proxy is self-healing.
Stuff, like would it just restart, or if your system dies down, like your Kubernetes cluster dies down, would the proxy restart again? I think that would be a requirement for a 1.2.
The Kubernetes part, that takes care of that. So the proxy doesn't need to have any logic if you're deployed on Kubernetes. And I assume most cluster or pod or container orchestration software does restarts for you. So that's part of the deployment. I don't think the proxy itself should have code to do that. Maybe things like retries and resilience is.
Oh yeah. I was talking from the infrastructure point of view because Buffalo already captures all the panics and does not let the proxy die. But do we have the configuration in whatever mode we decide to say as a best practice to say like the proxy would never die, it would restart after a certain amount of downtime at the worst?
As far as I know, Kubernetes has that by default. We don't need to do any configuration. We could probably tune it for some use cases that I can't think of right now, but by default, if it runs out of memory or if it dies, Kubernetes just restarts it. The thing, and then when you have your storage is a separate service. So if you have GCP, cloud storage, for example, that's completely managed separately. So if your pod dies or something, your stashed modules don't go away. So I think we're okay in that front.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't worked with Kubernetes, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah, for if we ever have like a bare bones deployment, that would make sense. But I would say it's just a documentation thing to say like, this is bare bones. Buffalo doesn't kill anything, but if you run out of memory, you're the one responsible for managing your own, VM.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. I had something else, but I forgot. So that's it for me. Other topics people want to talk about, or comments, or questions, or anything like that?
I had one question, so I'm super interested about like getting into the security stuff that you and Eric were talking about on Slack channel. But I know it's like way farther, but this project is, I think, moving faster than I've ever imagined any project to move to. So is there anything I can do once I'm done with the observability tracing stuff to like work with you guys on security and other things?
Yeah. As far as I know, Eric is just starting on. Eric wrote up a proposal, and I think he's going to translate it into an issue. Probably just going to copy and paste it, I would imagine. Reach out to him now. He's in the Athens Slack. Either reach out to him there or DM him. Here's his name on Slack. So reach out to him and just tell him you want to help. I know he would be very glad to get the help.
Okay.
Sure. I don't know if that's going to move fast or slow. I would imagine if you help, it'll move faster.
Hopefully.
Yeah. He's got ideas around provenance from GitHub all the way down to the user typing go get or go build. So there's some interesting stuff going on there. Most of it goes way over my head. So hopefully it won't go over your head.
No, that's what I'm hoping for. It goes over my head.
Okay. Well, if you're like me, it'll go over your head.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I had one more thing, actually. Some or all of you might know about the Athens blog. I try to do one post a week, but they're pretty short, and there is a bus factor there, which means a crude way of saying if I get hit by a bus, no one will write the blog. So I'm looking for volunteers. If anyone wants to write blog posts every once in a while about Athens, please let me know. Please let me know. I'll add you onto the Medium blog and you'll have free reign. Don't write anything bad, but you'll have free reign to write good things about Athens. Anyone can do it. It's not, you don't have to have, tons of experience with Athens, any skill level, any person, any background, anything. Just want to keep folks up to date about weekly about what's going on with the project. I usually do it every Thursday, but if there are other times in the week that people want to write, or if there are multiple people that want to write and we want to do multiple posts a week, it's super flexible. So just let me know, DM me on Slack. Cool. All right. And if anyone knows how to use Zoom, this video chat software, please let me know because I have no idea what I'm doing. I need to fix this. Yeah. That's all I've got for today. Any other stuff people want to talk about? All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. I will talk to everyone on the internet.
Yeah.